ready to get back into session. Budget discussion. I believe we're supposed to be going down the line and prioritizing the expansions.
Yeah, what we need to know is which capital projects y'all want to go forward with this year, and so that we can plug in that figure from fund balance appropriated, and then the recurring matters.
Which one do you recommend?
We've already been through them one
I
time.
say that's what I'm saying, I don't think we can go back again.
Yeah. I want to do one or the other, capital first, or,
Go with it.
Yeah.
okay,
Okay.
one-time capital, the building maintenance. You've already, agreed on the farmer's market. We'll go ahead and put it in this year's budget, but may have to carry it over to next year, and that'll be a budget amendment next year. But of the next 8 matters, how much of that do y'all want to?
You tell us what you need to do.
Well, we said, the courthouse,
Take that out, I'm sorry, you're right.
Yeah.
Take that out.
one is take that out.
They total up to $604,000. The ones that are left,
With those two out, that's what
with
the
those two
balance
out,
Take which one?
$604,000.
Take which ones out?
The first one and one you were talking about, the 5th one. The awning and the
Donna, would you
the doors.
confirm that?
And the farmer's market doors. And do that in this year's budget.
The on and the on.
Yeah, no, we're just doing the farmer's market in this year's budget.
Yeah. So we can take it out of next year's budget.
So we won't appropriate it this year, but it's something that if we don't spend it in this year's budget, after we put it in there, we'll carry it over next year, after July 1.
You're talking about 16, 17 budget. Well, I was in the discussion in the meeting, and they are saying it is vastly needed.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
it's in the budget. We're putting it in this year's budget, the current year. But there might be a reason why we can't get it done by July 1.
Oh, yeah.
So if we don't, then we'll carry it over,
Okay,
separate from the budget. We'll add it, we'll amend the budget next year to carry it over. What do you call it? Not carry over, but.
Reserve.
okay.
We got
Reappropriate.
Appropriate, I'm
$604,000.
sorry.
604? Okay.
$4,000, I'd recommend we approve $350,000, then he can pick to do the one big one or all the little ones, and then y'all make that decision. And it comes out of fund balance as a one-time expenditure, is that something that works? Wait,
I don't know what the, if there's anything real urgent,
I don't think there's anything there that's got to be done. I think every one of them in long range, like the boiler, like the windows.
so you
gonna
don't
make
think
the
we'd
money
be
back.
creating any more expense by delaying, or?
No, not really. You're gonna be spending more on energy by delaying probably. But you just hate to hit the fund balance so hard at one time.
It's probably just
To
urgent.
give him $350, he can do the big one, or he can do all the little ones, and let professionals decide which way to
It's
go.
urgent.
According to the
Okay,
finance officer, the only thing that he's indicated is absolutely urgent is the 50,000 for the roof at the jail.
right.
So that's within the 350, and he could move forward with that, and then prioritize the rest of the things.
Right.
And doing that, I think that's reasonable, and if he does lose, if he has to, if the boiler breaks down and has to be replaced, he'll have to come back to the board.
That's what I
Yeah,
need to fix.
that's right.
It's all like community college. Okay.
What's next, Mr.
Is
Manager?
everybody all right with 350?
That's great.
Okay,
That's your recommendation, 350.
I can
That way
live
all
with that.
approved?
I can live with that. Okay, the software. Apparently after the first year, it's gonna be cheaper. Savings. But the first year, there is a little more cost because we're gonna be going dual with the old system.
Was this one an absolute got to have, was it?
I'm not, it's, what was the deal with the old system? Is
Every time they call for maintenance, there's an additional charge to get help, and the cost of their maintenance is continuing to go up without good usage, what they have.
Yeah, I think
It's
the
a
maintenance
combination.
contract's about 100, and it goes up about 3 or 4 or 5% a year, and it's averaging $1,800 per visit, based on that contract amount.
They don't charge us for that, but if you base, like Z said, we're paying a flat amount, but for the number of times we've had to call them, it would average to about $1,800.
I got you. I consider to be reoccurring $1 million and what we trying to do. I'd prefer not to do that this year. But that's number 7. You are committed to $1 million expenditure on a year when you're trying to find $1 million of good. And it definitely reoccurred for 5 years. I mean, if you wait 2 years, it might be something else out that's a lot better than what you got there. Because it changes every day.
I agree with that.
What do you say, Ms. Ruth?
I agree with that.
How many years warranty is usually on a boiler?
No, we down on
Well, we down on
software
software
And
now.
software.
We down to software now.
Yeah, but I mean, I was just thinking from doing the thing.
Taking it completely out.
Replacing it, so we got 18 years on it, 17 years?
What are
The
we
boiler.
talking about? The
We're talking
boiler?
Oh, we done gone down from there.
Depends on what kind you get, I guess.
Probably got 16. On a boiler,
Can't tell him.
you know, your life expectancy is somewhere between 25 and 30 years.
Well, I'm so we had 25 years on mine.
Right. It's what it should be.
They didn't get that out of those at the college.
Well, the ones at the college, I found out the big one had been hit by lightning twice.
Okay, to your.
And that shortens the lifespan of it very quickly. It actually went down 2 times because of lightning strikes and insurance paid to get it fixed.
So CAD software,
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
if
I
it's recurring, you're just putting that at odds with other things that I think might be more important. Like COLA.
so, take it out,
Take
put it
out.
in,
Take it out.
Take it out.
take it out.
That's 4 folks set out, that's majority. Billy, what you say?
I go with that, I go with that.
Okay.
It's not something you gotta do today. They keep it out a week or 2, a month, 2, a year or 2, a month makes a difference.
The sheriff's, top 3 are, y'all characterized as discretionary.
Well, the first one we did reoccurring. Cause it's 5 years, of course,
Yeah, that's right.
so $350,000 expenditure, what you committed to. And the rest of them were discretionary coming out of fund balance.
Okay, so that would be, the first one is 69,089, financed over 5 years. That's 1 year payment, 5-year financing. That's replacing all their mobile computers, basically. Isn't that what they are? So 80 times 5 times.
345,000.
So they're about $5,000 or $6,000 each. No, wait. No, they're not.
There's $350,000.
About $4,500 each.
Right.
But that's the only one in this whole section that is recurring.
That's correct.
Right. The cars are something we've done 14 a year for the last 2 or 3 years anyway, so they're not necessarily recurring, but
They show up pretty often.
yeah, they show up every year.
Every year.
Everybody's scared the sheriff won't nobody say nothing.
Well, I tell you, I just can't accept this SUV.
No, I agree with you.
I mean, that,
Don't need
I
it.
can't see the use of it. That could come down to something
Well,
less
if
than
they
that.
had just one,
Go
that
up
would
and
be
out by
fine.
one.
That goes, what someone that needed, that needed, let it give it.
Well, the 14 vehicles total 387,000.
Everything excluding the first item is about 486, 487, in that range.
Do we need all that many? That's what I'm saying. Do you need to have that
Everything
many,
excluding the
replacing them all at one
Need to
time?
give it to them.
Billy, this is one of yours, the need or want.
It's a want, not a need.
It's all,
Would y'all
it's
decide
not
the first?
recurring.
Put it as a
That's all
want,
I
not a
have
need.
around
Okay,
there.
I'm sorry.
So it comes around and they replace them when they need it.
Well, it's all vehicles
It's all out of fund balance.
except for the first 3,
Mhm.
correct?
Yes, sir.
And I don't have a problem with some of the vehicles, some of them, but they just could break it down something less than that. To me,
But anyway,
that's a want, not a need.
I put it as a want, and so that's, work that way.
And you've been putting in the budget each year to replace at least like 14.
Last couple of years, it's been right at 14.
They ain't got 80-something vehicles over there.
80.
Yep.
They got 80 deputies, so.
Got
You got 97,
12, 13,
Well, all of them
14.
ain't gonna be there all the time, are they, every day? And all that.
They get assigned a vehicle, and I believe they get assigned a vehicle and they keep it 24/7.
What's the evidence vehicle?
Evidence vehicle, I saw one with Rocky Mount the other day coming through town. It's just a special vehicle
Where they
that's
can test things and
equipped,
everything.
yeah.
Be special equipment.
Yeah, that probably doesn't include all the equipment that would be inside of it.
If they saw it, Rocky Mount's got one, they want one.
Why don't we compare it with the, a county instead of a city? With Nelson County this size, not the city. They're comparing it now, won't we, with Rocky
No,
Mountain
this
City?
is all county stuff.
What does the 14 vehicles add up to?
387.
387.
387,000.
And that's for all of them that's listed, right?
Yeah, there's 14, the 9, 1, 1, 1, 1, and 1.
Anybody have any interest in treating it like the one above it?
Wanna
And
put it
doing
back some?
200,000 and let him buy them like he wants
Right.
to? With, Miss Richardson may want to say something about, which I would agree with her on about the SUV.
Right, I just have a problem with that, but my thing is you get the amount of money, if they want to buy one, you know, want to buy a big one, or break it down and buy 2.
Let them make it, well, that's what it boils down to, you
Right.
buy 2 vehicles.
Cause to me, putting money in something like that and all the other needs we have, we're trying to cover.
10 vehicles.
Wait till it's
It's not working.
needed, how about that?
Yeah. So I agree, that would work that way.
I think in in future years, I mean, he called me this morning and said he had seized something on 95, like $170,000 cash.
Right.
He did that himself, I think. I mean, I think he made the stop, did he?
Did he?
Right.
What the
That's what it said.
report read.
Yeah, I hadn't seen the paper. He just told me about it.
It's in the
So
email.
eventually that'll
bring in.
if the school board doesn't start suing us to get all that money,
Well, that's coming.
They gonna
That's
want it.
coming.
They gonna want it, I can tell you that. They gonna want every penny of it.
that's why they turn it over to the feds. So then the feds can redistribute it.
Well, you know, we have bought him a building this year.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's treat the vehicles separate from the
That's
top
what we're
three.
trying to do.
Okay.
Mhm.
So do y'all want to give him a figure and let him buy whatever he wants to?
Needed figure.
What about giving him a figure to buy 10 instead of 14?
No,
Well, then you gonna have to pick a 10,
At least
Mr.
have
Chairman.
two, Fred.
But do what?
Then you gonna have to decide which 10 to make the numbers match.
No,
Well,
give him
Well,
let
Ms.
him-
Richardson
let
just,
him decide with the amount of
Arguing his own
money.
self.
well, that's what we say, give him a amount of
but
money,
I'm
let him
saying
buy them
we
like he
give him
wants
the
to.
amount-
Is
give
what
him-
Ms.
Put an
Richardson
amount
said.
in
Yeah.
here
That's the way I feel too.
And break it
that
down.
will equal to
Low.
probably 10 vehicles, and he would decide which ones he
Well,
wants.
let's do 200,000.
I think he'd need 250 to do 10.
Well, he would.
Who said he had to have to do to 10?
Pardon me?
Somebody
I said,
said
who said
10.
he had to do 10?
I think Mr.
I
Chairman
did.
just suggested that.
I suggested that.
I'm just saying, why could he do 9? But anyway, whatever the amount, let him do whatever he
Let's give him
does.
$200,000, let him do what he wants to.
That's right. If he spends it all on two things, that's his problem.
How much? What was the figure?
I
He
suggested 200.
suggested 200.
Okay.
That's still good. That's adequate, don't you think?
Okay.
What he wants and what he needs is a whole lot of different things.
Well, Mr. Morgan, I think we're trying to cover and do what we can for all departments, but we have other departments we got to.
I
work
agree,
together.
don't,
That's
I
what-
said, don't let's keep
Yeah,
on doing
that's
that.
what
We
we're
don't
trying
need
to
to do
do.
that. We don't need to do all that.
Right.
Put down the needs and not the wants.
Wayne Taylor like that.
All right. Commissioner Davis suggested $200,000. Let me hear from the others.
What does those cars cost now?
24,000 each is the basic charge.
$240,000 if you got 10. $200,000, that's plenty. Thing had of them, tell them to polish it and let it go.
200 would be eight vehicles.
8, that's a plenty. 8's enough. Just use it, because all of them ain't gonna be on the road at the same time.
Okay. 200,000?
I don't particularly like that, but I'll go with the majority.
I suggested 10 vehicles, and it's gonna take about $240,000 to get 10. So we're up in at least $40,000.
In building maintenance, you gave 350 of 6,
Mhm.
and in the sheriff's down here, you're offering 200 of almost 5, so, I mean, it's, but I'll go
No, you
with
give-
whatever the
You gave
majority.
250 or 387, you give him 200 or 387.
Well, I'm looking at the
Let's
full
do-
package, there's 487 in that top section.
We're gonna treat
If you
those separate.
remove-
We're gonna add that. We're gonna address that after
Well,
we do the vehicles.
let's say 250 for the vehicles, okay? Any objection? I hear none. 250.
Well, why can't we market it 200 and before, it's everything is completed?
Let it be 250.
You're too high, but that's all, let it be.
Call the question.
What was that?
Call the question.
Yeah, I've just said, let it be at 250.
That's what he
I
said.
said call the
He
question.
said, call the question, let's vote.
Well, no, we don't need to vote. It'll say
No,
two.
no, that's good.
Okay.
I'll accept that.
Y'all wanna vote on it, then
Ms. Coulson said she would
I call for a
accept
vote.
that.
I will accept that. Not that I totally agree, but
Okay,
I will
all
accept
right.
it, so.
I'm
we'll-
fine.
I'm gonna rule
We're
that
not gonna get
everybody
everything.
accept that.
250 fine.
Okay.
To executive order.
We gotta get used to them, ain't we? Come from every direction.
President's governor, everybody's doing
I ain't lying.
Yeah.
You
Don't go
still
right.
got 3 items to deal with, Mr.
Exactly.
Chairman.
it. Madam Chairman.
Yeah, the
No, Mr. Manager.
8 in-car cameras, I guess they're 4,000 each. He's planning to incrementally do that.
Until you get them all with cameras.
Yeah, he may have some with cameras already. Does he?
Oh, yeah.
Use the existing
Yes.
ones he's got then.
I
and-
think this,
and put
was
all
this
of
the
them.
last one?
Camera don't give out overnight.
Last
Not
card?
normally.
I think that's what he
I
said.
think that's what he said too.
This will have them all done then?
That's what I'm remembering.
Okay.
What was that you?
If we buy these cameras, then all the cars will have the in-car cameras on the dash.
And this is a,
So they can record what goes
Right.
on at a stop or
and that's good.
so on.
Okay. All right, so y'all okay with that, the 32?
I am not, but.
That's kinda strong.
I certainly support what the board comes up with.
Well, you can spread it out, split it in half.
Right.
Well, you got 3 items there that amount to $450,000 is what you got left to deal with. So how we gonna deal with the 450,000?
Where you at, Rob?
He's doing the 5 years times 69
The
plus.
first 3 items that we haven't addressed yet is worth $450,000.
Okay, I'm only looking at the second and third item. Those are
I'm
not
just-
recurring.
Okay, not recurring, okay, so you got $100,000 then.
$165.
Well, the top
The
one.
top one is
he's adding
recurring.
more to it because it's.
5 times the number.
I got you.
I know if you do it, you'll commit the whole thing, because they have a 5-year fine.
And you know what those mobile data terminals are? Those are computers in the vehicles.
Yeah, which they got them now, they're
Yeah.
just upgrading them,
Right.
something that I feel like would certainly wait.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with that, waiting on that one.
Waiting on the first one.
I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, the other 2 total $100,000. Or 99,200.
Well, you know, we got he has visited all of us, I think, on another matter.
I've got that to bring up also. I was gonna bring that up at the end, the raises.
Right, but then, I don't know if he gave it to everybody, but then he came back and eliminated some of this stuff to get that. So apparently some of this stuff you ain't got to have. I'm not sure.
This is the one that-
You don't know that, do you, Z? You don't have
I
that.
don't think I saw that. Did you see that,
I
Rosemary?
did not.
I don't think y'all have, I think he handed me an envelope one day and that's what was in it, and I don't have it with me.
I was gonna
That's
bring
kinda
that up
strong.
when we talked, right,
Right, okay.
With
Well,
the
we'll deal
COLA.
with that when you get
with the
to
COLA.
it then. All right.
So we got in March.
Well, me personally, I would like to not do either one of the first 3.
Never had, I never
Okay.
did.
But
I'm with you. I'll
But I'm looking
second.
$1 million.
Somebody got to pay.
It's the 99.2. You wanna give them 99.2 or something less, or those 2 items?
I don't support either of those items even, but that's what the board wants to do.
What, he's gonna get 2 instead of the rest of them?
No, these 2 items right here, in-car and portable Vipers and in-car cameras. His request and they total $99,200.
I think we can get one for the dime store better than that. That was cheaper than that. Hell, look. Just 'cause it's on that car don't mean you got to use it, or you gonna use it. Is it gonna be that?
Well, we said earlier in this discussion that it come from the fund balance.
That's where it's gonna come from, that's right.
That's what I wrote down.
That's
Yeah,
what
that's it.
reoccurring expenses.
Well, just the first item is reoccurring.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like the in-car cameras, they are a benefit to the citizens and to show what is happening. We see a lot of that, so whether we can do them all or whatever, I think it would be good if we could do some, but that would go over the other.
Okay.
So you saying do number 3 and don't do 2, Ms. Richardson?
Wait, 1, 2, 3, yeah. If you don't do them all, I'm
What's the
just.
value, what do you lose if you don't have number 2? You don't, I mean, that's a radio system, that's communication.
Yeah, but the camera shows what is going on.
I'll check and see.
Relevant.
I'm just saying, if I'm out on the road, I want to make sure I'm able to communicate.
What are they, replacement?
That's what I'm
I
thinking.
mean, they're replacement, I think they certainly all got
They already have
radios
radios.
I don't know.
I think that, yeah, I think
Yeah,
it
we
is a
do.
replacement.
Upgrading.
Well, why does he want to replace them?
I think he said the frequency on some of them, they couldn't hear us too good sometimes. That's the reason they wanted to replace them.
You want me to call him? I can get him here in a New
I
York
think
second.
we should fund it. And it's-
Except I think Brian said that instead of Keith.
I think that was Brian too.
Yeah, what you talking about, Mary, with Brian, they want to keep.
But Rachel,
Yeah.
you think that the 8 cameras will complete all the cars?
That's what
That's
I
what he
think. Let me
said, yeah.
text somebody and just ask if y'all don't mind, just to be clear on that. That's what I'm remembering, but I'm going from memory. I'll check with Brandon.
Yeah, sure, if there ain't what you doing, draw, don't call.
Yeah, really.
You won't do that if I want some money.
Let me see if that's. Let me just- Calculated for what Wayne's replacements.
All right. Ready to move on?
I found it.
The one they gave us when we
Rosemary.
went out, in the budget meeting.
I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, and see what we did with that.
Yeah.
We
This is the last one I got.
And we came up with
Today on it.
the COLA. And out of that.
And that was the second, no, the 1st of
I
April.
just think you get this one done.
That's the one I think we got down here.
We had a letter and then a chart.
I think we eliminating the vehicles period, right?
No, you gave him 250 for the 91111 and 1. Gave him a lump sum of 250.
$250,000.
And the issue now is the in-car cameras and the in-car and portable Vipers.
Right.
They both together total 100,000. How much?
What would 100,000 do with council?
Was that to be in the 250 that Fred
No,
said?
no,
that said-
no,
That was
the
just
250 was
the-
the car.
That's the cars.
Justified.
Yeah, they're looking at that
On
one.
the cameras, you can cut that in half. Do half this year and half in the next
That
budget.
sounds like a good idea.
What'd you say, Mr. Chairman?
Cut the cameras in half. Half in this budget and another half in the following fiscal year budget.
So-
Maybe has a motion?
So 16 instead of 32? Or are you talking about the cameras and the radios?
I'm just talking about the cameras.
Okay.
Where you find that?
I'm not finding out anything. I've texted, Brandon and Pat Joyner. I haven't heard back from either one. My next stop is the sheriff, unless y'all already call.
The radios, they probably need,
Oh, yeah,
they can run another 12 months
I agree with that.
without a camera. Those that's driving just need to be very extra careful.
They can run without a camera until they need a camera.
Yeah.
Then you gonna wish you had a camera.
Well, the problem is we don't know the circumstance.
Well, then we should hold them till we
Yeah.
make a judgment on that.
Right.
Do you want to try to get somebody over here?
No.
I'm trying.
Okay.
Well, I'm just trying to reach him by phone. I'll try one more.
Just ask the question.
And what did y'all decide on the 80 mobile units financed for 5 years?
I think we eliminated that.
Okay, so the only issue we have is the Viper radios and in-car cameras. You want to go to the jail while we wait?
Now, we're saying out on the mobile units. We're taking that totally out.
That's what.
We did. Or they did on this end of the table.
I think they have them now and just waiting a year or.
I'm wondering about should we take that totally out. I can see us cutting it in half.
What do you say, you gonna cut in half?
The mobile units. I know there was some discussion said, well, we had talked about financing that.
That's what this proposal, it's 69,000 a year for 5 years for
Mhm.
80 units.
Well,
Yeah, I can do it.
Commissioner Davis, are you talking about just taking that one totally out and don't worry about financing it on a 5-year plan?
What we said on the first item, what I said, and several of them down here agreed with it, you would need to ask to find out how many is it replacing terminals that we currently have. Since this reoccurred and it's $350,000, I'd like to see us not do that this year, keep using the ones we got.
You saying they still
Thinking-
got something that works, Robbie?
Well, sure, we got something that works.
Okay, well, leave it like it is then.
And then, those things come down all the time and new models come out all the
I
time.
agree.
All right, what's the consensus here now? Out?
Take it out.
I agree.
On the first one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
I'm
ahead and
talking
take it
about on
out.
the first one of the 80 Pasonic mobile data terminals. Out or in?
Well, you had four just said out.
Out, we got out on it.
Okay. I'm sure you're gonna
Left
hear
here for
from the
radio
sheriff on
camera.
this one.
Right.
I've not heard back from all three of them. I'm trying to do this week.
I could see reducing it. cutting it in half. But in Georgia.
What you say,
Georgia
Lucy?
said- I was saying, I could see, just cutting it in half, except for what you're saying, just take it out.
It's fund balance,
completely.
one time, say that.
99.
I think
Still-
you need
are
to
they
give
still
him,
working on
I
it?
think he needs the radios and the cameras.
It's
Okay.
cutting vehicles.
It's one time, it's one
Not our
time,
fund
non-reoccurring. Out of next year's fund balance, I can live with, I'm okay with that.
Okay, 99.2 for those matters and 250 for
Vehicle,
vehicles.
right.
Out of jail.
$1 million. Someone's tax got to pay.
Okay, let's go to the jail. I think we ought to leave all of those items in, as is.
Jail, I'll make a motion, I'll move that we do. That's just like I
Both
said.
cars?
Got some
Well,
cars,
let's
some
take them
more
one at a
radios.
time, Mr. Chairman. The first item, I fully understood the need for.
All right, the next one, radio, repeater.
Hold on just. While you read it, give us 1 second here. We will purchase radio copies.
You can get away without a repeater.
And will not need a repeater. We are purchasing out of this year's budget, which will allow us to cut the sales sensor equipment out of next year's budget. So that's the first item. So he basically said he'd do away with the first 3.
Okay.
Let's do it, then. Let's do it away with them, and then, if he can do away with the first 3, he can leave what's right there on it now from the store.
Well, the first 3 items, apparently since then, he's found a way to do them already.
Right.
I don't know what he's using, but he's kind of removed them from the mix.
Okay, that's great. Leave it like that.
Has he said that?
Yes, sir.
He said the money's freeing up in order to pay for the salary?
That was the intent, but it don't work that way. I mean, he's taking non-reoccurring money and eliminating to justify reoccurring money.
We
So that
ain't
means
doing
it's
so
gonna be
hot
more.
like that.
So you can't do that.
Taking out one-time cost
Well-
for long-term expense.
If he has said he's found other money to pay for those 3 items this year, I assume he's gonna go forward this year.
That's what
So-
this reads.
So let's just take that out.
All right, that's what we're saying.
And then the next one is the 2 vehicles.
We will purchase radios out of this year's budget and will not need a repeater. We will purchase that 3rd item, the first item I mean, out of this year's budget.
Which rate?
They're doing it a different way. So
Which
they won't-
radios is he talking about? The jail or
The
the?
jail, definitely the jail.
Not the sheriff's radios?
Not the numbers add up to be
The jail. Okay.
So you eliminate the first 3 items. And then you're down, why does a detention center car cost considerably more?
It's 2 of them.
Oh, okay, so I'm sorry. It's cheap, okay, cheaper. Don't have as much equipment.
It's the same as the charger cost up in the
Gotcha.
sheriff.
So you
Right.
said they have 2 vans now, so this would be 2 in addition to the 2 vans?
I guess so.
2 more vans besides the 2 they already got?
It'd be
it's not
2
a van.
chargers, 2 cars.
Two chargers.
They're asking for 2 cars.
Besides
Yeah.
what they already got.
Yeah.
I recommend you give him at least 1, if not both.
All right, let's give him one.
Okay, that'll be fine. I'll go with that.
So 24,000.
23,951.
Vehicle.
4,000. Get a Coca-Cola.
Emergency services.
Emergency.
Division truck. 30,000.
What is this truck used for?
Yeah, what was the thought behind a pickup truck for emergency services?
All the liquor still.
Oh, Lord.
You asking me?
Yeah.
Anybody know?
One of the division chiefs needs a new truck.
Are they driving pickup trucks now?
Actually, I think this one's not. But in the last few years, they've started
It might
getting,
be a truck for fire inspectors, fire inspectors.
that's right, they've got part-time people helping with fire inspections.
And then when you do
Well,
those.
they don't need that truck, they're worried enough folks dead now.
I mean, is that what it's for? People just go out and do fire inspections? There's no emergency need to get there, or? Because if that's the case, I mean, you can use
Do you have,
Yeah.
do
pretty
you
much
have any?
anything.
Well, I'm wondering if they have to
The
carry a
justification.
ladder, to do fire
This is
inspections,
one
you may have to
They have
get through the building. I don't know
The
that
trucks
for
that the
sure,
fire
though.
marshals have, I think one of them has, the oldest, they're gonna rotate them up, but it has a lot of miles on it, and they use the trucks because they hold the equipment better.
What equipment are they hauling, Don?
Must be ladders of some
Um,
kind.
We may need to have an emergency services person up here to help with that one.
Yeah, I'm not gonna just approve that one.
I can't give you the details on it.
I'd say let's just disapprove it.
Right, need more information on that.
So, that first truck's out. Anybody object to that? Okay, the remounts, 3 remounts, 2 convalescence ambulances.
That's $450,000.
Right. And our current debt service in this book, you'll see, I think we've bought trucks and financed them in 4 of the last 5 years, or,
We have.
yeah.
Yes.
I'd personally like to put that one off. The whole line item.
Take it off and go ahead.
Yes.
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah, I'd really like to see us have a time when we can sit down with Brian and just get a better understanding of this whole EMS thing. Because we talked down below about the crew and the number of runs they're making. There's a lot of things we need to better understand about that rather than just keep throwing money at it.
All the department heads are on standby to come up here today for anything
Yeah,
you
but we
all
don't
wanna
need a
know
few
about.
minutes. We need some time
Okay.
to just sit with him and really understand this.
Well, this is an item that, you know, we can add in at any time.
Yeah.
But what we need for that May 5th budget presentation is what y'all want us to put in there for now.
I'd like to take the whole block of items and not approve any of that for what we're working on now. We sure aren't gonna go the route of adding a crew this year.
According to Scott Rogers, the truck would be to pull response trailers, generators, et cetera. Would be assigned to Brent Fisher.
How long was it? Brett Fisher got one sitting in his yard all the time now. The SUV won't have pull the trailer. Sure.
So Brett's already got an SUV?
County issue.
They want sitting in
County
his yard all the
SUV?
time. Yes. Well, let me back that up. Which one lives at Rudder? There's two of them guys. One of them.
But
where
it
you
doesn't
turn
matter
on
if they
Landfill
got
Road.
one that would pull it, they don't need another one to pull
Well,
it.
they
They
definitely
can
got
swap
one.
off.
Well, as I recall, he
You already
was,
got one, leave it out.
he was saying that he wanted to cut back on the time that each shift.
Well, that's
That's
the
the
last
last
item,
item.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
We already,
Mm,
we already
Actually-
decided that.
Actually, the 24-hour
I thought
thing
you
is
were
not
saying
on,
cut
that is
everything.
not the 24-hour thing.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
I really think for the time being, we can leave that whole block out.
Fine with that.
I'm fine, go ahead and do it, leave it out.
I don't know.
One,
Yeah,
two,
'cause I
three.
think-
Yeah, I was just wondering, why would they need 3 ambulance remounts at one time?
I think we need to better understand.
I mean,
this.
that's
I think
just a
we need to
question,
hold
maybe we
on
could
this.
do one,
I think we need a plan.
later, next year
Right.
do another.
I
Some of
wouldn't
these
say,
things need to be
I
rotated.
wouldn't say leave it out. I agree with Commissioner Outlaw that maybe we need a better understanding.
Yep,
that
you gotta
we do
leave it
need
out
a
to
better-
You can leave it out.
Better understanding of it.
Manager said we could add it in.
Well, let's leave it out and add it later if
Add
we
it
decide
back
we
in
need
after
it.
we better
Yeah.
understand it. If it's
So
appropriate
we
to
can
do
get to a
so.
budget number.
Okay, animal control, y'all said
We
put
done
in.
approved it this year.
Yeah, one-time capital.
Can make a banner, why?
Board of Elections. The issue is, do we take it out or do we put some in a reserve? I recommend
Take
we
it out.
not.
Take it out.
Take it out.
Just take it out, yeah.
What are you taking out?
The
No,
Board of
Board of
Elections.
Oh, yeah,
Elections.
yeah. That's something you said could possibly be funded by the state or the
Well, we
federal.
really got to 19 to start
Right.
that thing.
Now, the Southern Nash Senior Center.
Are you okay to 650?
Okay.
Are we good with the $900,000 figure?
We're gonna make it work, sir.
Okay. So we need to come up with 650. Do y'all want to do it one time next year? You want to do some of that this year?
I said next year.
Finance director's already picked one time next year.
One time next year, okay.
What, next year being what we're working on?
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
16, 17.
DSS positions?
Discretionary reoccurring costs. Is this the county's cost or is this total cost?
County's cost.
That's the
The
county.
county's cost.
Yeah, county's net cost,
Right, yeah, it doesn't, already taken out the matching money.
which I thought was kind of high.
Well, what is that?
She's including, that includes benefits and, you know, what it would take
Yeah,
to
but
get them in
50
place.
plus 81 plus 60 is about 200,000.
Like
A couple of
100,000.
these positions though were only like 90%.
Right, exactly. Only
Yeah.
one, I think it's the food and nutrition one that gets the majority of the,
Yeah, the first one, we get about half of it back. The other two, we get 7% back.
Can any of these be handled through part-time or retirees coming back or?
I think they're doing that with the food and nutrition one right now. The second one's being done by the assistant director, and the third one doesn't exist right now.
Well, y'all know me, I'm just, what we're trying to accomplish here, I'm not in favor of any of them.
As an
adding positions.
administrator,
No,
and to me, I look at that as a sub-administrator, and I just think that salary is probably too high.
But it would be the starting salary of that position in that grade. So it's already set by our pay plan.
Where you apply.
And then I said freeze it.
that's probably the salary right there.
Let's put a hold on all of those
Around.
positions.
Okay?
The 81 is with benefits.
Okay. the salary, the benefits, that's salary and benefits, but I say freeze it.
Okay, and we've already done the outside agencies, did not do those.
Right.
And and my libraries.
Yeah, we get a answer on that or not?
What did we learn from that email? Anything, Rosemary,
What's yours?
on the libraries and the
I
state
can't
aid?
learn anything from it right now.
It's confusing.
It's confusing. I don't know exactly what she was trying to.
The bottom
Say.
line is, they'll fight us, and they'll,
Well, the bottom line is, who's got the call?
I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, I understand, but
And I'm not talking about just staff, I'm talking board members will, and I've always been told we couldn't, that we had to designate one library for that position, and of course, at the last meeting, I said, well, we can always designate a different library. I said, I'm not threatening that, but,
Well, I think all we're asking for is how can that money be distributed? And we're also asking for the users, and Fred said he's gonna get that, so.
yeah. Well, let me say this about, I have a chart in my office that how much they claim they're spending on IT for each of the outlying libraries, and it's like averages maybe $5,000 each. Now, that's their own numbers that they've come up with based on the time they've spent at those libraries helping them with their IT needs. So they would claim that they're using some of that money, or it all goes in a hodgepodge. All three counties, the state aid from us goes in a big hodgepodge, and they take it out. So it's intermingled. So
I make a motion that we approve the 32,500 for the libraries with the revenue coming from the state library fund that is given to Nash County each year.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor that we would
What we
keep
just
keep
need.
the 32,500 in and see what amount come in from the state. Am I quoting you right?
It would come from that.
It would come from the
state.
money that we receive for the state for libraries.
Okay, if this comes from the money we receive from the state, it'll be allowed, seconded by Commissioner Morgan. You've heard that motion.
And of course, the motion would be subject to being legal to do that.
yeah, discussion.
What is legal to do?
Discussion. I was gonna say that, we need to make sure, y'all have designated Braswell as the library. So I'm not sure we can divert those funds, so we gotta do a little research on
But
that.
I think one time you had mentioned, can we designate more than just Bradwell Library? So that would give us the flexibility to divert.
Yeah. Rosemary, forward that to Vince and let him look at that, not today, but
What's adequately needed.
some other time.
Thing from
Oh, yeah, he
Roach.
just,
Yeah, he sent it to.
I saw, but it
Commissioner.
needed
Of course,
to
we
get on my
want the decision to
computer.
Yeah.
come
Any
from the
further-
state, not from.
Any further discussion on that motion?
Can I ask one further discussion? Because part of the $5,000 incentive is that they're saying that 15,000 or 13,500 isn't enough for them to manage it. It costs them money. Would y'all consider just going to 15,000 and the other 25 try to get from the state aid, and so that we can at least tell these libraries we're going to 15. They've been at 13.5 for a long time. They got cut that 2%, and y'all restored it last year. But if you would just consider that way, if we find out we can't do the other, then the program goes away. If they don't agree to it at Braswell, And it's
I keep
illegal.
having a problem understanding why we got to have Braswell to agree to what we're doing.
Because you designated them as the recipient of the state aid money.
But
And we do
this
that.
process is gonna change that. We're gonna, rather than single designate them, we're gonna split between all county libraries. And until you tell her, come back, tell us we legally can't do it, then we're gonna have to readdress it.
According to needs.
I do know that it could affect the formula of how much money we get, but we can do all that research. But aside from that, if we could just, for those 5 libraries, go to 15,000, which is only another 7,500,
Well, that's what we're doing.
and then the other 25, try to get state aid money for that, but take the first 75 out of the general fund. Just in case we can't do, it's just in case we,
Well, we'll do it when you come back to us, King,
Okay.
ask that question.
okay. I was just opening it up for discussion.
All right, is any more discussion? All in favor of that motion that's on the floor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposes? Ayes unanimous.
Okay, we'll check into that, between legal counsel, myself, and
Okay.
and the library folks. I guess that leaves us back on page 1, the COLA. And also the sheriff's request for that increase for his upper management, 15%, I think. Trying to get to where Rocky Mount is.
Let's take it over first.
Okay. We,
Close the case.
if you look on your sheet, in the back after, you'll see what each department, how much the 2%, how much the 1.5, and of course, if you, 1 would be half of the 2. The less state federal on page 2 of that chart, the bulk of that is social services. Maybe a small amount might be the health department, but of that savings, the 85,000 or the 63, that comes out of social services.
One thing we gotta remember is it is reoccurring.
Is what?
Reoccurring every year from henceforth on. Affects
Don't pay it too high.
longevity pay and
That's why
any other
it's the
thing.
Same thing, more next.
Well, I'm in favor of not just totally taking it out. And so we got 2 suggested.
Well, actually,
As
It could be
y'all could.
1%?
It could be 1, it could be 1 1/4, it could be 1 3/4, it could be whatever. We just gave you,
yeah,
so
well,
for reference purposes, we gave you these.
yeah,
these
well,
2.
ever since we've had a discussion on it, I've been looking at 1.5. And I'm talking about going back to our other budget sessions.
If my memory right, Mr. Lamb, that we did not do a COLA last year.
No, we did 1 1/2.
We did 1.5 last year,
Oh.
okay?
Okay.
I'm sorry.
And that's what I'm calling for. That's my recommendation,
And the CPI
1.5.
was a couple months ago for a 12-month period at that time was like 1.4. Isn't that what you, yeah.
Southeast.
I know that we're really, really working on this for this year. We're going, next year, we know there's gonna be no raises, period. I mean, then go ahead and put that in your head. So if we could reward them a little bit this year, they won't be so disappointed next year when they don't get anything. Because reval's gonna be really real next year.
One, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
1.5 is,
But we are looking to cut.
it's the same, basically the same thing we did last.
Let it visit 1.5, is that what you said?
Yeah,
I would.
We did 1.5
I would
last.
support that.
Yeah.
yeah. I would suggest 1.5 because, hey, we gotta realize our county employees is what keeps county functioning. And whenever we can, and we may not be able to do it again, but while we can, I think we need to do it.
I understand, I'm a merit person, this is my thoughts. I understand you have
Yeah,
to cut.
well, yeah, I
But I
understand
lean
that.
more toward the merit.
Yeah. Well,
The one thing you have to consider with merit is that if you appropriate, say, 250 for merit, the following year, it's 500 recurring. Because the merits happen at their anniversary date, so assuming an average of 6 months over a 12-month period, you're paying in merit. The following year,
Joey got some ways to say it.
it doubles. Huh?
Y'all come up with some
Well,
ways to say it, something
and
like
then
that.
too, you are rewarding just a limited few. When you're dealing with merit, you're talking about maybe 1% of the department, 0.5% or whatever. You're dealing with, you may reward maybe 2 people or 3 people.
On the last time, Mr. Chairman, we did merit, my understanding was about 66% of the employees got it.
Well, that was,
No.
that was a catch-up.
99% got it, 66 got exceeding, so they got 1.5. If you got meets, you got
So
7.
99% of them got it,
You're right,
but 67% got the 1.5.
the 1.5, the rest of them got 0.75.
Well, the government definition of merit and private enterprise is also different then.
The, did we send out what Rocky Mountain's doing?
We did.
Okay, did y'all see that? They got a 3-step, meets, exceeds, and outstanding.
And they had no COLA, did they?
No
Right.
COLA, but like 2.5 for meets, which again is half, on an average, the renewal rate makes it, this year cost them half that amount on the average. It was 2.5 for,
Meets expectations, 3 to 3.5, or exceeds.
And outstanding was 4 to 4.5.
and they had to have a letter of justification for
Yeah,
outstanding.
document the outstanding. Wilson County's got a 2%, I'm looking over your shoulder.
Go ahead.
Doesn't have it. Halifax is 2, Edgecomb's proposing 1%.
But he's not sure he's gonna get that.
Yeah,
And
Johnston.
Halifax isn't sure he's gonna get that.
Johnston and Franklin weren't far enough along in their budgets to give me a number. Nor was the town manager.
Well, I will say again, I believe most of you agree with me on this, that we go with a 1.5, and I would call for a motion on that.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a motion for the 1.5% increase in cost.
Second.
Motion by, just a minute, motion by Commissioner Richardson, second by Commissioner Wells, that we go with COLA of 1.5%. Any discussion?
That's 456, 177.
Right.
Recurring.
Any, you have a discussion, you,
1.5, you talking about 1.5% on what? Last year's or this year's or what?
it would be the same, current, we're talking the current now, but it'll be the same as what it was last year.
Whatever their salary is on June the 30th, on July 1, it would be increased 1.5%.
what does it cost us?
456.
450,000 a year.
A year.
In the 2 years we're trying to eliminate for reval, it cost us $1 million that we're trying to eliminate.
Any further discussion? All in favor of that motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposes?
No,
Ayes 6-1. Okay? All right, we'll go with 1.5.
Okay, and then finally, this was a late request by the sheriff's department. I don't have the documentation, but I think everybody's received it.
Yeah,
Um,
I got a copy of it here.
Wants to make some salary adjustments to his top staff. This is different than what I. Maybe it's not.
It should be,
No, okay.
that's the same one.
Yeah, total of 7 employees.
Basically, what he wants to do is get the pay of lieutenants up on an equal basis as lieutenants in city police department.
But that's a pretty good increase. I said, but that is a pretty good increase, is that not true?
Well, yeah, if you look at that post there, what's the total on that?
112,925.
$112.
$112,000. What are you saying, 112 off what now?
And that will be a continuing situation. An increase for 7 lieutenants of $112,000. That would include benefits too, I believe, isn't it?
See, here, on this chart, one person is getting about 9,500, another one 9,000, another one 9,000, another one 9,000, plus or minus. Another one about 9,000, another one about 9,000, another one 8,000. That's just the captains. Majors would go up 10,000. Another one would go up about 10,000. And then the chief deputy would go up about 11,000. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 positions. Total cost with benefits, FICA, retirement, and 401K, $112,000.
Yeah.
That's per
But
person. I'm talking about.
basically,
112
information
for those
that
10 employees.
I got from they more, he wants it all. But lieutenants especially want to bring them up.
But how much has he offered up to offset that? That would be apples to apples. Looks like it's some over 100,000.
when you say be,
Well, I mean, if you add recurring, or you offering up to take away recurring?
no.
But when he says he would cut or reduce a deputy position, that would be recurring that he would be cutting.
That's correct.
If he says he's cutting a captain position, that would be reducing it, that would be recurring. If he says he's taking out salary part-time, that would be recurring. And if he says he's taking out equipment supplies, that would be recurring. I mean, it's not something he gets one time, so those 4 items are $107,000.
Well, Wayne, that's not correct.
Okay, well, that's what I want to do is understand it.
Okay, like equipment and supplies, that is not reoccurring. Because if you look, where's he getting that money from?
I don't know.
Right
I'm just looking at it like, you know, if you're buying supplies, you've got a line item where you buy supplies, you typically are
Right.
replacing supplies every year.
Now, where that number came from is the paragraph below what you're looking at there.
Okay.
That adds up to.
So take
exactly
away
52,000.
52 from the 107,
Right.
so he's offering up 55.
Yes, thereabout.
So the difference would be 57.
Now, where's that 55 coming from?
It's coming from a deputy position, a captain position, and part-time salaries.
He's gonna eliminate.
He's
That's
gonna
right.
eliminate, he's gonna reduce the captain's
I never saw
salary.
that letter.
See, they've got something different than what you sent me.
So what you're looking at is $57,000 recurring cost.
Yeah,
that
but
he's
I
not
really
offering up.
question,
58,000.
we always hear they don't have enough deputies. How do you eliminate a deputy?
I don't know, because
Right.
I didn't quiz him on his logic. I
Yeah.
assumed he knew how to run that department.
It don't sound like he has no logic, is it? Where's it at?
Well, I think he's made a decision that I need A more so than I need B, and it would best benefit the department if I had A versus B, and he's willing to give up B to get A. You're looking
Well, I
at
leave it like it
58,
is.
you're looking at $58,000 difference recurring cost.
I don't think the county can afford a whole lot more than we've already spending that way, do you?
What I had asked, and I got some information, I don't think I got really what I was hoping to get, but how do these positions match up with positions, comparable positions in other counties? Because he's comparing his command staff to the Rocky Mount command staff.
Yeah, and different departments, just like he changed all his designations about a year ago, he changed the titles of
I
everybody.
kind of understood when that happened, that there was no money involved, it was
Right.
just,
Right, so it's hard to compare
Like
one
money is hard.
department to another because they might have different titles for the same position.
I know, but still, you have different titles, but there's people that understand, even though you got a different title, this person is comparable to this person, position-wise. And that's kind of what I want to know, is what are the surrounding counties, the ones that touch us, what does a comparable position make? Because I think we need to measure this against other counties and not against municipalities.
I agree.
I'm gonna compare with Nash.
Well,
I
does
mean-
not, Mr. Lamb, the pay study we just done,
It did.
should it not have done that?
It
Yeah.
is.
And where did these positions fall?
Unless they're above the midpoint, they had an adjustment that factored in
Those items.
Rocky Mount, but was not one-on-one against Rocky Mount. It also factored in different counties. And-
But was Rocky Mount one of them in our pay study?
Yes,
And I think to Ms. Dorsey's benefit, she did say that did include, it was included in the pay study, these positions. I believe that's what you
It
told me.
was. One thing I wanted y'all to remember though, is we didn't implement the pay study.
That's right.
We did.
We implemented a hybrid
Right.
version
Right.
that we backed into based on the allocation we were able to do.
Right.
So it did include Rocky Mount. They were part of the peer group, if you
Okay.
will. It might not be fair to say that they got what was recommended
Sure.
from the original pay study.
Has anybody looked at that to see what that was? Yeah,
What was the original pay study? That's what you're saying now.
right. We had studied that.
As compared to what he's requested?
Right.
Is that what you're thinking?
Right.
No, we have not.
Okay. My real problem with it is, it's kind of like the nonprofits. If you pick 9 employees out of 650 and to get a 15% raise, I just have problems with how it affects your other employees.
I agree with that.
Now, if you take like we did, one individual, I won't call names, and she took on additional duties and is now doing 2 jobs, and she got if I remember right, that was a 15% increase.
Who
To
did
justify that.
the recreation?
Yes.
She got a 9.97% because my authority was 10%. And I
Okay.
reported it back to y'all, but
I thought I had heard 15, but whatever it was. Okay, well, that's even,
she was like making
More concerned then.
6,100 and something, and we gave her 66, which ended up being
and that's what the
9.97.
savings reflected on in the budget.
No, the budget still has both positions in it until today.
Right, that's what I mean, but that's what it saved at.
Yeah, that 45,000.
Yeah, the 45, yeah.
It's just, when you work as many people as we do, it's just tough to take a select group like that and do considerably more than you do for the majority of them without some reason for it. Now, the one discussion I had with the sheriff was, and just Mom, I'll try to get him to understand how I think it has nothing to do with the board is, you know, if you got those 7 command people and you eliminate one of them, and then you can take that salary and put it back to the rest of them and give them more duties, that makes it easier. It don't mean it's gonna happen, but you know, that's what history has shown we have done here.
Well, that proposal might be a reaction to that.
And,
It is, but it didn't
react too good,
go
did it?
where,
Backfire.
I don't consider eliminating a deputy, adding more duties to somebody to get a.
Right.
No, man, no,
increase.
sir, I agree with you 100%.
Well, and then too, Mayor, we need to talk with the sheriff about using this early retirement, because they can, because law enforcement can retire full benefit, I believe, at 25
Well, he's
years.
actually got one that's getting ready to retire, in this command staff.
I'm thinking one of them is, that's why.
Well, he is. He definitely is.
Well, the one that talked with me, one was just working part-time.
Well, no, he's got one that's working full-time that is getting ready to
That had
retire.
already retired, and they're just using him part-time.
Yeah, one of these people is retiring,
At the end of the year.
yeah, very soon, in the next year.
And so you know, if when that person retires, that this position gets spread among the other 8, you know, that's the way of relooking at it again.
Yeah, that's true.
But I don't see how you can trade that.
$10,000 raise, I don't think that, $10,000 raise for 1 year out of highest 4 years would constitute spiking, I don't think.
When I talked with somebody, I asked them how many, well, they called me and wanted to talk to me about it. You know, I asked them how many commissioners had they talked with. They said they had talked with all of you except Commissioner Barnes.
They were wrong. Nobody never talked to me about it.
Well, now.
I think they were wrong on a couple
Well,
cases.
they
Go
said
ahead.
that all of them have
Robin, I talked to the
been
big dogs.
seen except, not the ones that talked to me that they themselves did it all.
Mhm.
But they said that all of them have been seen except Commissioner Bond, and now we're here to talk to you. And,
Did they ever
What
get
did
you?
it
so
take?
I asked them, I said, what kind of response are you getting? And they said, pretty good response. Said the only doubt about this thing that has a lot of questions with you, Commissioner Davis.
Well, that part
Well,
was true.
that would not be completely accurate,
Yeah,
Mr. Chairman.
yeah, well, I would.
Because my response was simply, we need to look at this in its entirety with the budget and see how it fits in and what we feel like we can do.
Yeah, well, they were, in the way I understood what they were saying, Commissioner Davis was one was saying that he couldn't go along with it. And, but the rest of them did not have that kind of
When you just
they didn't
said
get the
Commissioner
impression
Davis
that the
was
rest of the
maybe
commissioners that
not
they had
that-
talked to were against it.
Well, I can show you the email that I sent back to the sheriff.
Well, I
Well,
never got it, and I
well-
didn't know I didn't get it, because I didn't want him expecting something from me,
You
and
never
I
got-
had not
you never got-
received
Well,
it.
the reason I'm
I
bringing
got
it
a
up.
call on it,
Okay.
and I
Reason
sat
I
at home
mentioned
all
that-
day that day, and nobody else.
The reason I mentioned that is that you can't change your mind, you know, regardless of what you said to them
I
then.
thought they
Once
wish they
you
did,
see
so no
more
way they would get
facts
that big a
and
raise.
discuss the situation in more detail, it could change your mind.
But if the sheriff could do it the way Robbie talked, then that's fine, but I think, at least for me, and I'm not trying to say that anybody's position is not extremely important, but I would think it would be a lot tougher to replace Chief Medina than it would be a deputy. That's just me.
Sure would.
And that's why the command staff, he's trying to shore up his command staff so he's got good control of the department.
But all these years, all of a sudden, we got to do what Rocky Mount does.
What is, do you have a thought on it, Mr. Manager, with you dealing with it in many ways? What's the staff position on it, if you have a position, if you don't understand that?
My biggest concern with it is how other employees react.
Absolutely.
And I know one county that gave 5 or 6 people a raise about 6-8 months ago, and 90 employees of the social services department walked off the job.
Oh, God, we don't need that.
And so that's my only concern.
Well, that should be your concern if that happens.
Well, I'm sure it's gonna be a concern,
Yeah.
because ever since I've been on this board, comments that when it comes to salary increases or whatever in the budget, they're always saying to me that the sheriff always get what he want, and the rest of us
Take what's left.
My,
I don't think you can say that after today.
my other concern is, we've done a pay study. The sheriff's department was part of that pay study. Each of these positions were part of the pay study. We factored in Rocky Mount, but it wasn't a one-on-one comparison to Rocky Mount, and that's because we're a county, we're not a municipality, and I'm just, to disregard the surrounding counties and just go one-on-one with Rocky Mount is a concern, just as a procedural matter. I think all of y'all believe everybody in the sheriff's department, all 100 employees. You respect them, you honor them. You know they put their life on the line every day. But it's a big amount. And as of July 1, with the pay study as modified, incorporating health and DSS, we will have fully implemented that pay study without any variations. If we do this, we will immediately have a variation.
I agree.
Don't do that.
And that's my biggest concern.
Just looking at what he offered up, that covers about 50% of it.
And that, I would say that makes a difference. But I would prefer a one-for-one. Part of that was non-reoccurring.
No,
Not a half
not
of it
50%.
reoccurring.
The 50% he offered up would be recurring.
Well,
So, whatever.
I think we all like the sheriff. I think he's trying to do a great job. He's trying to modernize his office. He's trying to build it as a major force in the area. He's doing a great job. He's doing a lot of good drug interdiction. But we've got to look at everybody.
Rest of the people under him is helping him do a good job too.
I agree.
And maybe he's not worried about that, but that would be a concern, that people, the deputies, aren't getting, but everybody's getting 1.5% based on your earlier vote. I guess you could back out 1.5 of that 15%.
Well, it'd all be on 1.5%, then it's like, let his be just like the rest of them, then how about that? If you can get any,
Well,
he know better than you are, Fred, or me, or
Let's
whoever,
put-
who is.
let's put this one on the table. Table it.
Okay, we will not incorporate it, and y'all, of course, y'all are free on a matter like this request, y'all are free anytime, any meeting to reconsider it.
Well, do you go back to the sheriff with some options that were mentioned to accomplish what he's looking to accomplish?
I think he goes to y'all, because he doesn't, I mean,
Well, I think, I don't have a problem with
Yeah.
that option.
well,
I don't.
being
I
independently
don't
elected.
have a problem with it, but I got a problem with anything that affects our overall workforce in your mind.
Yeah.
If you think it would be detrimental to our overall workforce. But I know, just my simple mind, I think that command staff is critical
Yeah,
to the sheriff.
I agree, and I
He's
can, and
got
I,
a tough job, maybe as tough a job as anybody that works in the county.
yeah, I only told you about that event elsewhere to fully inform you. I don't anticipate it would happen here for this purpose, for this reason.
Well, I wouldn't anticipate any other department would really come forward and say to fund this raise, I'll give you this. I mean, maybe they would, I don't know. But he's offered up 50% of it.
And
And he might offer up other options that were mentioned here in order to.
I can go back to him
fully,
if y'all would like.
To do what he feels like is necessary with that command staff.
To find a like amount of money and recurring cost.
Well, I really got a strong feeling, Mr. Outlaw, probably you and I disagree on, but I don't like the idea of eliminating deputies to give the command staff. I realize he's a sheriff, he's got to run his department, but ever since I've been here 14 years, I've always heard we need to hire more deputies to cover the county. And when you read the report, we got 5 deputies at night that cover this whole county, which is not many.
Well, I agree with you in that regard, and I would not want it to be that we would cut our staff too short on the street. And I would not expect to see him back next year, the year after, saying, I need to replace what he gave up to get this.
What I'd like for it to be considered, if you would at least suggest this, he look at too, is when he has a vacancy on that command center, to see if the rest of them
That's
can't do that
probably the
job.
best option.
That's the best option,
I'll
because
talk
he's got one coming, and it almost
Okay,
covers the cost.
I go back to what I said earlier, let's put this one on the table.
Yeah.
And
I
we
will-
can
I will
bring
talk
it
to
up most anytime, if we need more information, and we have offered some suggestions that the county manager could take to the sheriff.
And that's
So
the way
let's
it
just-
should be done, rather than him trying to pin each one of us down individually. I
Yeah.
don't feel good about that.
Well, let me say this about the sheriff. He is independently
I
elected.
know that. I know that.
Any department head that would do that, I would have concerns about, but
The sheriff can, and we
the
realize
sheriff
that.
can, yeah.
I still don't like it, but I'm not gonna never not meet with him. But, they're still county employees.
Right. I will meet with the sheriff. We won't put it in the budget for now. I'll meet with the sheriff and try to see if we can, both suggestions, when you have a vacancy in the command staff, shift some of those responsibilities to others and eliminate the position, or find, as he has already, positions in his department to offset the cost. And I'll bring it back to y'all, whatever he comes up with.
Reoccurring.
Reoccurring, absolutely.
I mean, not non-recurring, to replace reoccurring.
I understand.
And hopefully not deputies to give command centers raises.
Gotcha.
Okay,
I think that's it. I think we can
all right.
play with the numbers now.
All right, so the next thing on the agenda is to recess this meeting until April the 21st.
Next Thursday.
At 4 o'clock. The committee is, the committee's gonna meet at 10 o'clock, but the full board was gonna get together
At 4.
at 4 o'clock.
And the school board comes out to that.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah, the school
On
board,
Monday night.
school board is on Monday.
Do y'all want
What's
to
in
do
the morning?
anything with
The morning
Brian
we
Grant?
meet
Are you
with
happy?
joint,
Said they wanted to
and
hear
then the
more from
afternoon
him.
release.
When do you wanna do that, if you wanna do it?
What was that?
Was there any, do you wanna have Brian, y'all said you wanted some more detail, do you want me to get something in writing?
No, I think
Report.
that's just, we need to talk a little bit more about what we want from Brian and let him come just present that information. We need to better understand.
I'd like, we all flush all this out, see where we are before.
Yeah, before we
We
have that.
meet with Brian before we had
I
that.
agree.
We can do
Part
that.
of that would be utilization of all the trucks in the county and the people.
It wouldn't be fair to give one section of the county more money and not give the other one something.
So we meet Thursday at 10 o'clock.
Oh,
4.
okay, are we all
Committee.
clear?
10 o'clock.
Come back 21st at 4 o'clock, so I will call for a motion for a recess until that time, such time.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Morgan, second by Commissioner Richardson. All in favor of that motion, let it be known by saying aye. Any opposers? Ayes unanimous. We'll see you then.